The air in my sister's living room felt thick, like I was breathing through wool. I could hear the clink of champagne glasses, the fake laughter from my mom's corner of the couch, the way my dad cleared his throat every few seconds like he was preparing for a speech he'd never give. My sister Vanessa sat across from me, her hand resting on her fiancé's knee, that diamond on her finger catching every bit of light in the room. She looked radiant. She always did. That's what everyone said, anyway. I tried to focus on my water glass, the condensation dripping down the side, anything but the knot forming in my chest. "So," my Aunt Linda said, too loud, too bright, "when are we going to talk about the elephant in the room?" My mom laughed, but it came out sharp. "Linda, please." "No, I'm serious." Linda leaned forward, her eyes on me. "Why isn't Claire a bridesmaid?" The room went silent. Not the comfortable kind, the kind where everyone stops pretending they weren't thinking the exact same thing. I felt my face heat up. I stared at that water glass like it held the meaning of life. Vanessa shifted. "It's complicated." "Complicated how?" Linda pressed. "You're sisters." "We just thought—" My mom jumped in, her voice taking on that smooth, diplomatic tone she used when she was about to say something cruel and make it sound reasonable, that it would be better this way. Less pressure on Claire, less pressure. I wanted to laugh. Or scream. Maybe both. My dad finally spoke. "Claire understands, don't you, sweetheart?" I looked up. Everyone was staring at me now, waiting, expecting me to nod, to smile, to make this easier for them like I always did. "Sure," I heard myself say. "I understand." But I didn't. Not really. Because 2 months ago, when Vanessa got engaged, she'd asked me to be her maid of honor. We'd stayed up late that night, looking at Pinterest boards, laughing about horrible bridesmaid dress trends. She'd hugged me and said, "I can't imagine doing this without you." Then, 3 weeks later, she called. Her voice was different, careful. "So, about the wedding party," she'd started. I remember feeling excited. "Yeah? Did you pick a color scheme?" "Actually, I've been thinking, and Mom and Dad agree, it might be better if you're not in the wedding party." I'd laughed at first, thought she was joking. She wasn't. "It's just that Chelsea, Morgan, and Britt are more, photogenic. And we want the pictures to be perfect. You understand, right? It's not personal. Not personal." Those 2 words echoed in my head for days. How is it not personal when your own sister tells you you're not pretty enough to stand next to her on the most important day of her life? I'd asked what I did wrong. She'd sighed like I was being difficult. "Claire, don't make this about you. This is my day. I need everything to be perfect. You know how important this is to me." I did know. Because that's all I'd heard for years. Vanessa needs this. Vanessa deserves that. Vanessa's happiness comes first. And where did that leave me? Sitting in her living room, watching my aunt ask the question everyone else was too polite to voice, while my parents scrambled to make excuses that made me sound like the problem. "Claire just has a lot going on with work," my dad added, his tone final. "We didn't want to overwhelm her. I worked in marketing. My job was busy, but not that busy, and they knew it." Vanessa looked at me, her eyes pleading, asking me without words to just go along with it, to not make a scene, to protect her from the discomfort of the truth. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Actually," I said quietly, "that's not why." My mom's head snapped toward me. "Claire." "No." I set down my water glass. My hand was shaking, but my voice was steady. "That's not why, and you know it." Vanessa's face went pale. "Claire, please don't." "Don't what? Tell the truth? You said I wasn't pretty enough for your pictures. That's what you said, Vanessa. Your exact words." The room exploded into noise. My aunt gasped. Someone else muttered something I couldn't hear. My mom stood up. "That is not what she meant," Mom said sharply. "Then what did she mean?" I looked at my sister. Tell them what you said to me." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears, the ones she always used when she needed to be the victim. "I was trying to be honest with you. I thought you'd appreciate that. I thought we could be adults about this." "Adults?" I felt something crack inside me. "Adults don't tell their siblings they're not good enough." "I never said that." "You didn't have to." My dad moved between us. "Okay, that's enough. Claire, I think you need to calm down." "I am calm." You're making your sister cry on what should be a happy day. Of course. Of course that's what this was about. Not what Vanessa said, not how it made me feel, but the fact that I was ruining her moment by having feelings about being excluded. I stood up. I should go. Don't be dramatic, my mom said. Sit down, we're family. We can work through this. But we couldn't. Because working through it meant someone would have to admit I'd been hurt, that I mattered. And in this family, I'd learned a long time ago, some people's feelings mattered more than others. I grabbed my purse. Vanessa was full-on crying now, and Mom was comforting her. Dad stood there looking disappointed. In me, always in me. As I reached the door, my Aunt Linda called out, "Claire, wait." I turned. She was standing now, her face flushed. "You're right to be upset. What your sister said was cruel. What your parents are doing right now is worse." "Linda, stay out of this," my dad warned. "No." She walked over to me. "I've stayed out of it for too long. We all have. We've all watched you get pushed aside, overlooked, made to feel less than, and we said nothing because it was easier." She looked at my parents. "She deserves better. From all of you." The silence that followed was different, heavier. My mom's face was hard. "You have no idea what you're talking about. I've known this family for 40 years, Susan. I know exactly what I'm talking about." I felt tears building, but I refused to let them fall. Not here, not in front of them. "Thank you," I whispered to Linda. She squeezed my hand. "Call me later, please." I left. The drive home was a blur. When I got to my apartment, I sat in my car for 20 minutes, staring at nothing. My phone started buzzing. Texts from my mom. "You embarrassed your sister. This is why we didn't want you in the wedding. You're too sensitive. You owe Vanessa an apology." I turned my phone off. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. I didn't call. They didn't call. It was like we were all waiting for someone else to make the first move, and no one wanted to be that person. Then, on Thursday, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Is this Claire Morrison?" "Yes?" "This is Margaret Chen. I'm your grandmother's estate attorney." My heart stopped. "My grandmother?" "Your paternal grandmother, yes. I'm very sorry for your loss. I know you were close." We had been. Grandma Rose had died 6 months ago. It had broken something in me I didn't know could break. "I'm calling because we need to schedule a reading of the will. There are some specific items she wanted to make sure you received." "Items?" "Yes." She left detailed instructions. "Would next Monday work for you?" I agreed, still confused. Grandma had never been wealthy. I couldn't imagine what she'd have to leave that required an attorney's call. Monday came. I drove to the law office in the older part of town. The receptionist led me to a small conference room. And there they were. My parents, my sister, all looking as confused as I felt. "What are you doing here?" my mom asked. I was invited. "So were we," Vanessa said quietly. She hadn't looked at me since I walked in. Miss Chen entered, carrying a folder. "Thank you all for coming. Let's begin." She opened the file, started reading. Most of it was standard stuff, small amounts to charities, personal items to various family members. Then she got to the part that made everyone sit up straight. "To my son, David, and daughter-in-law, Susan, I leave my gratitude for the years of care and my hope that you'll learn what I tried to teach you. Love is not a limited resource. You should never have made your daughters compete for it." My dad's face went red. Mom looked like she'd been slapped. Miss Chen continued. "To my granddaughter Vanessa, I leave my pearl necklace with the reminder that true beauty comes from how you treat others, not from how others see you." Vanessa's hand went to her throat. "And to my granddaughter Claire," Miss Chen paused, looked at me. "To Claire, who has always been enough exactly as she is, I leave the rest of my personal effects, including my journals, my recipe books, and the collection of letters she wrote me over the years. I also want her to know that she was my favorite." The room went still. "I'm not supposed to have favorites," Miss Chen read, and I could hear Grandma Rose's voice in every word. But Claire made it easy. She never asked to be chosen. She never demanded attention. She simply loved, fully and without condition. That is the rarest gift. I see how her family treats her, and it breaks my heart. So I'm saying now, publicly, what I should have said more often when I was alive. Claire, you are extraordinary. Don't ever let anyone make you feel otherwise. I couldn't breathe. Tears were streaming down my face. Miss Chen closed the folder. That concludes the reading. Claire, if you could stay for a moment, there are some papers to sign. My family sat frozen. No one spoke. No one moved. When they finally filed out, Vanessa paused at the door. Claire, I waited. She didn't finish, just left. My mom was the last one out. She looked at me, her eyes wet. She shouldn't have put that in her will. It's cruel. Cruel? The word came out sharper than I intended. What's cruel is making me feel invisible for 26 years. We never made you feel invisible. You asked me not to be in my sister's wedding because I'm not pretty enough for the photos, Mom. What would you call that? She flinched. That's not. Vanessa was just trying to. To what? Spare my feelings by crushing them. Silence. Grandma Rose saw me, I said quietly. Really saw me. Maybe she put it in her will because she knew it was the only way you'd hear it. The only way you'd have to acknowledge what you've done. Mom's face crumpled. We love you, Claire. You know that. Do you? Because love isn't supposed to feel like I'm constantly apologizing for existing. She left without another word. Miss Chen handed me a box. These are hers, your grandmother's. She wanted you to have everything. That night, I sat on my living room floor, surrounded by journals and letters and recipe cards written in Grandma Rose's careful handwriting. And I found the letter she'd written just for me, dated 3 weeks before she died. My dearest Claire, it started. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and I hope the will reading went the way I planned. I know it might seem harsh, what I said, but I needed them to hear it from someone they couldn't dismiss or ignore. You have spent your whole life trying to earn a place in your family that should have always been yours. You have made yourself smaller, quieter, less than you are, all to make room for people who should have been making room for you. I want you to know something. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to be prettier, thinner, more accomplished, or less sensitive to deserve kindness from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. You are enough. You have always been enough. Please, my darling girl, stop waiting for them to see it. Stop hoping that if you just try harder, they'll finally choose you. They should have chosen you every time. The fact that they didn't isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their failure. So here's what I want you to do. Choose yourself. Build a life full of people who celebrate you, not tolerate you. Set boundaries, even if they call you selfish. Walk away from situations that diminish you, even if it makes you the villain in someone else's story. And remember, my sweet girl, that you were my favorite not in spite of who you are, but because of it. Love always. Grandma Rose. I read it 3 times, then I folded it carefully and put it in my wallet. The next morning, I got a text from Vanessa. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Finally, I typed back, only if you're ready to actually hear me. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I am, I think. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment. She looked tired, smaller somehow. I'm sorry, she said before I could even sit down. For what I said, for how I've treated you, for everything. I waited. Grandma's will, she continued, voice shaking. It made me realize how awful I've been, how awful we've all been. It took Grandma dying and calling you out in her will for you to realize you hurt me? She flinched. That's fair. Is it? Because I told you how I felt, Vanessa, when you uninvited me from your wedding. I told you it hurt, and you made it about you being honest, about your pictures being perfect. I know. Do you? Do you actually know, or are you just sorry because Grandma made you look bad? Her eyes filled with tears. Both. I'm sorry because Grandma called me out, but I'm also sorry because I'm starting to see what I couldn't see before. That I was so focused on being perfect, on having everything perfect, that I didn't care who I hurt to get it, including your own sister. Especially my own sister. She wiped her eyes. Mom and Dad always made me feel like I had to be perfect. Like if I wasn't the pretty one, the successful one, the favorite, then I was nothing. So I leaned into it, and I let you be the one who got hurt so I could feel safe. I didn't know what to say to that. I want to fix this, she said. I don't know how, but I want to try. If you'll let me. I don't know if you can fix it, Vanessa. Some things, once they're broken. I know, but I have to try. Because Grandma was right. You deserved better. You deserve better. We sat in silence for a moment. I'm going to set boundaries, I said finally. Real ones. And if you cross them, I'm done. I can't keep being the person who gets hurt so you can feel comfortable. Okay. And I need you to understand something. I'm not coming to your wedding. Her face fell. Claire, I know you want me there, but I can't. Not after everything. Maybe someday, but not now. I need space to figure out who I am when I'm not trying to be good enough for this family. She nodded slowly. I understand. Do you? I'm trying to. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it was something. As I left the coffee shop, my phone rang. My Aunt Linda. How are you holding up? She asked. I'm okay, I think. Your grandmother was a smart woman. She was. She knew you needed to hear it, that you were loved, that you were enough, and she knew they needed to hear it too. Do you think it'll change anything? I asked. With my parents? Linda was quiet for a moment. I don't know, but I know this. Whether they change or not, you need to. You need to stop waiting for their approval. Stop hoping they'll see you. Because you, Claire Morrison, are not a supporting character in their story. You're the main character in yours. That night, I started a new journal. The first entry was simple. Today, I chose myself. It hurt. It was messy. But I did it. Grandma Rose would be proud. And somewhere, I like to think, she was.